There is a moment before disaster, when the world feels strangely quiet. A silence that isn't peaceful, but expectant, as if something enormous is holding its breath. On the night of April 26, 1986, that silence lived inside Chernobyl's Reactor 4. Deep within the steel and graphite, a pulse was forming. Something no human could sense, something waiting to break free. And no one in the control room knew. Not yet. Hours earlier, the night shift had begun a routine safety test, one they had delayed, restarted, and performed under conditions that were anything but safe. Operators were tired. Systems were offline. Warnings had been ignored so many times, they no longer felt dangerous. Chernobyl wasn't one mistake. It was hundreds. Tiny choices stacked together, forming the spark of the worst nuclear accident in history. The reactor was never stable that night. Its power levels dipped too low, then surged uncontrollably. Inside the core, pressure was rising like a trapped heartbeat. But to the men in the control room, the danger was invisible, hidden behind numbers that didn't make sense, alarms that were too slow, and a system they believed they controlled. They were wrong. 1:23 a.m. The operators pushed the final sequence of the test. Control rods lowered into the core, rods that, due to a fatal design flaw, increased reactivity for the first seconds instead of reducing it. A flaw no one had told the operators about. A flaw capable of turning a routine test into a catastrophe. Then it happened. In less than 5 seconds, power in Reactor 4 surged to levels no instrument could measure, more than 100 times its maximum limit. Pipes burst, fuel channels tore apart, graphite blocks shattered like glass. The reactor core turned into a rising inferno of energy and pressure. Witnesses later spoke of a blue flash, a beam of pure radiation shooting into the night sky, as bright as lightning but completely silent. Cherenkov light, visible only when atoms scream. Firefighters arrived within minutes. They had no protective gear. How could they? No one told them what they were walking into. They climbed onto the roof, kicking aside pieces of glowing graphite, still believing it was just a fire. Some said the air tasted like metal. Others felt their skin burn instantly. Within hours, many would collapse. Within days, many would die. And yet, Pripyat slept. Fathers, mothers, children. No warnings, no evacuations. People watched the glow from their balconies, thinking it was beautiful. They had no idea that each breath carried invisible particles that would change their lives forever. The Soviet response was silence. Deny, control, hide. Even as radiation drifted into Sweden, forcing Europe to raise the alarm, authorities insisted nothing was wrong. By the time evacuation buses finally arrived 36 hours later, the damage was irreversible. Inside the ruins of Reactor 4, something horrific had formed: the elephant's foot. A molten mass of uranium, graphite, and concrete. Standing near it for even a minute delivered a lethal dose of radiation. The man who first photographed it collapsed shortly after. He knew he would die, but he also knew the world needed to see it. Chernobyl was not a single explosion. It was a human story of pride, pressure, secrecy, and mistakes hidden until truth tore through steel and stone. It was a warning carved in fire. Technology without humility can destroy everything. And even today, the reactor still sleeps beneath a giant sarcophagus, silent, waiting, a reminder that what happened in those final moments can never be allowed to happen again. Chernobyl didn't just change a country, it changed the world, and the echoes of that night still travel through time. Some disasters end in minutes. This one has lasted decades, and its final chapter has not yet been written.